Welcome to WinSouls TV. This is your host, Jeff Thomas, and today we are just going to talk about some of the issues of the world and the stance of us as Christians. So, first of all, I like to start off by saying, a lot of the stuff that's in the media concerning George Floyd, oh my gosh, just lift those families up in prayer, and all of the other, sad to say this, but all of the other African American families that have come in contact with law enforcement that have abused their power. Also, just keep those families in your prayers. But there's something that I like to address here. There's an agenda at play here. There's an agenda at play here concerning everything that we see on TV. Concerning everything that we eat, that we do, that we listen to. All of those specific things have a place in terms of influencing our thought patterns and the way that we live our lives. So concerning us as black people, I'm not just talking about black people, but for right now I'm just talking about black people in general. Right. So black people, why is it that a lot of the times whenever, all of those specific things are happening, it's always a white officer that's doing something and then there is a black victim. Now, some of those videos, okay, you don't know what happened before the camera was turned on, but others, it was a blatant, disrespectful act and violation of the law. Point blank and simple. Now, the thing is that there are people all over the world, regardless of the color of their skin, that the same thing is happening to, regardless of whether it was a black officer or a white person, or, a white officer and another white person. Or, regardless of the color of the skin, that is happening all over the world. But there's an agenda at play here concerning black people. And so I don't know what that agenda is. I don't know. All I know is that all of these specific things that are happening is coming from Satan. Remember, we do not wrestle with flesh and blood. Yes, we do have a choice. But all of our choices are now being influenced by subjective speech or suggestive speech in media, And so with that said, a lot of the things that we view and that we see, it influences our mind in order to make specific decisions. And when we make decisions based off of the things that we see, right? And what if all that we see is the things on TV that Satan wants us to see? Then we will be moving exactly the way that Satan wants us to move. You see? And that is exactly what's happening. Now, another issue that I'd like to talk about is that, and I've said this in other videos, but I think that it really hits home with everything that is going on right now. Black people, white people are not your enemy. White people, black people are not your enemy. Okay? I think that we really need to, and Priscilla Shirer said it best when she said that we need to start pulling back the veil and start pointing our fingers at the right enemy versus pointing our fingers at the manifestation of him in this natural realm. Okay? Once again, we do not wrestle with flesh and blood. And so when we try to backlash or come at white people, first of all, it wasn't all white people. It's only specific ones. And there are plenty of issues that aren't being reported, whether it was all white people you see doing something specific or another white person getting beat down. But it's really in the media is only minorities that are being reported. And that has to do with an agenda. So how does all of this, concerning COVID-19, all of that stuff, we are being lied to, okay? How does that come into play with us as Christians, okay? Well, one thing is that we need to stop being timid Christians. it's time to start standing up. It's time to start standing up. It is not just okay for us to just just read the Bible and go to church. That's like entry level to a relationship with God. Yes, I mean those things are important. But I feel like there's this huge fad in terms of going to church. It's just a popularity, and it's just a great community in terms of going to church, right? And it's a huge fad in terms of, talking about the relationships that you have with God, right? But the people that are actually living that out, they don't have to talk about it. They don't necessarily have to talk about it at all. You see it in them. You see it in them. And how do you see it? Because they are moving out of obedience. Moving out of obedience, like I talked about in like 2 videos ago, it encompasses all. It encompasses love. It encompasses faith. It encompasses the work that the Lord has told all of us to do universally. It has told, it encompasses us concerning all of our callings and our identity in Him. You see? But just going to church and reading your Bible and not activating those specific things by being obedient to the commands that He has told us to do, by taking steps of those commands, then you will never begin to see the fruition of the fact that we are peculiar people. How is it that the Word tells us that we are peculiar people, yet and still we just sit at home and we act just like everybody else? We act exactly the way that Satan is manifesting himself in media, which is the state of this world. We act exactly the way that the rest of this world is acting, and we don't stand out as peculiar people because we are not being obedient to His commands. When we as a church begin to be obedient to His commands, we will see true change in this world, and the Lord can manifest Himself through you in your environment, in your community, and in this complete outrage that is happening in this state of this world right now. All of this stuff, the burning down buildings, looting this, looting that, I don't care who caused it. Some people believe that it's undercover police officers that are doing this, that, and the other. Okay, whatever. Some people believe that it's just, angry black people. Okay. Some people believe that it's, white people joining the black people in terms of Black Lives Matter and, this, that, and the other. Well, I will tell you this. Black lives matter. White lives matter. Hispanic lives matter. All lives matter. Why? Because Jesus died for all. Jesus died for all. And I'm not saying all lives matter in terms of me following that stupid little movement. I'm talking about all lives matter because Jesus died for all. Therefore, I will minister to all. Therefore, I will preach to all. Therefore, all have an opportunity to become saved and have a strong relationship with God. All lives matter because Jesus said so, and He put His life on the line because all lives matter. The police officers that have killed these innocent people, other people that are rioting and people getting killed within the riots, the looting buildings and the people that are losing money based off of their burning buildings and businesses and all of these specific things, right? All of these people matter. All of these people matter. And there is no sin that stands in the way of Jesus Christ. So let's begin to allow our peculiarity, if that's a word, to be shown within this world by being obedient to the commands that He has told us about, to the commands that He has told us to do, the commands that are important to allow His work to be done in this world. Because all of this chaos, this is Satan. This is Satan at work here based on an agenda that he has. Let's take a firm stand and begin to point our fingers at the right enemy. Because we have a tendency to point fingers at the very things of the flesh, but our true enemy is in the spirit. You guys be blessed.